Hello and welcome to this abridged edition of the program Issues of the Moment. This is a current affairs program that tackles issues around our national life. And of course, the issue of the moment right now is the 2019 general election. And across the length and breadth of the country, people are coming out to buy forms, submit forms, intent and nomination forms to vie for one office or the other. Some are defecting from one political platform to another that will guarantee them victory come 2019. Well, I have one of those persons joining me in the studio to discuss his intention for the people of the state. He intends to occupy the #1 seat. I'm talking about Right Honorable Barrister Benjamin Adanyi. He was a one-time minority leader, Benue State House of Assembly, presently the majority leader of that State House of Assembly. He's a law graduate and called to the Nigerian Bar in 1995, two-time House member elected. And of course, on the 14th of November 2017 or 16 thereabout, the Igbo community in Benue State, Makurdi specifically, awarded him the title of Agune Chamber 1 of Igbo in Makurdi. Welcome to the program, sir.
Thank you very much.
It's good to have you.
It's my pleasure.
Yeah, let's go direct to your intention. What would you say as a person has motivated you to say, I want to become the governor of Benue State? What is the motivating factor behind that ambition?
Well, I'd like to thank you very much. Basically, my motivating factor is to add value to governance. If you know Benue State very well, you discover that the last 3 years, under the leadership and administration of His Excellency the Governor Samuel Otom, has been wasted years because there has basically been nothing. You cannot, for instance, point out a particular project that has been initiated and completed by this administration. Of course, you agree with me that the issues pertaining to payment of salaries cannot be said to be an achievement by any administration because, of course, it should come as of right. But even at that, the government has failed. And basically, this is because there has been no concerted effort to ensure that the Benue economy is diversified. We have relied basically on handouts that come from the federation accounts. If you look at the internal general revenue of the state, there has been no efforts to ensure that we boost our revenue generation. And so Benue basically has remained, so to say, a civil service state. Of course, a poor state, so to say. And so I think that there is need for that narrative to change. And that is what has motivated me. I'm coming in to add value to governance. I'm coming in to ensure that for once, we'll look at other issues that will add value.
Would you have maintained this position if the governor of Benue State still was in the APC where you are? If you were still in the same platform, would this have been your position?
Well, if the governor had still been in APC, I certainly would have, because as far as I'm concerned, and this is my own personal opinion, as to whether or not he has failed was not depending on the platform he occupied. And those of us that were with him in the APC at that time still felt that there was a lot that needed to be done to ensure that the people are not so changed. So my opinion then is still the same with my opinion now, that the kind of governance that he offered the Benue people was not what the Benue people bargained for. But I want to agree with you that his departure from the APC has provided the needed platform for so many people to come into the race.
And so what are you bringing to the table? When you say adding value, a lot of people see that as being vague. In clear, concrete terms, the value you want to bring to governance, what will it translate into for people to see physically in terms of infrastructure and all of those utilities that people need to make life better?
Well, I will speak on two areas. Number one, agriculture. You agree with me that Benue State is basically an agrarian state. And we have the potentials. Of course, we are dubbed the food basket of the nation. But if you look at the kind of farming that is practiced in Benue, it is basically subsistence farming. And so there is no way you're going to feed the nation if you're still engaged in subsistence farming. So if government had taken deliberate efforts, and that is what we would do, if by the special grace of God we take oath of office, I take oath of office as governor of Benue State, we're going to re-engineer the agri sector. We're going to ensure that optimally we produce, and indeed we live to the expectations of the Nigerian people as a food basket of the nation. And so that is one area. The other area is to key into efforts of previous administrations before the Otom administration in ensuring that there are cottage industries in that state. If you look at the now Senator Akume, then governor, if you look at the administration, you discover that there were a lot of, or at least 2-3 cottage industries that you could point to. The Benkins Places came up, the cassava blending plant came up, the fertilizer blending plant, and some other ones. And then, of course, during the Suswam, there was a yam processing and some of these things. So I think that if this administration had leveraged on that, and perhaps 2, 3, 4 other cottage industries came on board, the Benue people would have been reaping the benefits of that. Okay? So basically in these two areas, and these are going to be the serious areas that we want to concentrate on, because we may not necessarily want to take too much. Okay? We want to just make these ones our corner point, our major areas that we will revitalize.
A lot of people will want to think that you cannot talk about development in Benue State without mentioning the security sector. Now, one of the things that have bedeviled that state has been the farmers' herders clashes. And one would think that any governor or anybody who intends to be governor will have that as a priority talking point and deliverables in the 4 years or 8 years of the life of that administration. Do you think that is actually a problem, or you think it's not something that should be on the front burner, security-wise?
Well, thank you very much, but you also will have to agree with me that security has almost become a national problem. It is not just a problem in Benue State, it is a problem as far as the country is concerned. And unfortunately, we have been in the media or in the public domain for the wrong reasons. But then having said that, I have, as a member of the 8th Assembly and as a majority leader, I have joined hands with government in trying to see how the security challenges in Benue will be tackled. And of course, you will recall that a couple of months ago we were compelled, based on the crisis between the herders and the farmers, to pass a law which was assented to by the governor, prohibiting open grazing. It is a problem that it is with us. It is a serious problem, but of course, I am not going to over-dramatize that problem. I think that there are ways within which all stakeholders can be engaged in ensuring, by the special grace of God, that that problem is handled.
And you said compelled to pass a law as a legal practitioner. Would you say you had delivered on that tag that hangs on your neck, and more so being the majority leader of the House, that you pass a law that probably your intentions were not in line with that law? And so, some people have come out to say that is the root cause of the crisis that has festered over the years.
Well, I don't think I said that was compelled. We passed that law with all sense of sincerity and purpose. We passed that law because that was what was the only way out for us at that time. We passed that law because we were responding to the aspirations and desires of the Benue people. Of course, you recall that there were very serious agitations across the state, and even the assembly complex was occupied by some of these NGOs and some organizations, with a view to bringing a lot of pressure to bear on members of the assembly to pass that law. So that law is a product of the people, and that law was not passed under any coercion. And if I had given that impression, then of course I withdraw that. That is not what I meant. When we pass that law, if I'm confronted with the same situation and same circumstances and same facts now, I will still opt for that law. Now, it is also not entirely correct for anybody to proceed that that law exacerbated the security issues in Benue State. That may not be entirely very correct. Of course, I will agree with you if you finger the issue of implementation of that piece of legislation. because the manner in which that law was implemented leaves a whole lot to be desired. And it is my candid opinion, sincerely, that that law could have been implemented perhaps in a much better manner, saving the state most of the security headaches and the crisis situation that we found ourselves in. So as far as I'm concerned, it is the implementation and not necessarily the law. What is wrong about, talking about ranching? Ranching is an option globally. If you move to even some of the African countries that you can think of, go to Kenya and go to Ghana, and some of these countries you discover that everybody is going the way of ranching. It doesn't make sense for you to allow your cattle to graze, you understand, at the expense of the other farmer who also is in business, trying to farm to be able to, maintain his livelihood. So there is nothing wrong about saying you have to provide ranches for, these animals to be kept. So it's not about the law, but it's about the implementation. Of course.
What about the implementation? Has it achieved the purpose for which it was passed?
No. That's exactly the point I'm trying to make, that the implementation itself was a problem. You understand? Certain persons that were supposed to superintend and supervise that process were themselves not people of character and integrity. Of course, you must have heard this in the public domain, that the person who was at the head of the livestock guards himself was a Boko Haram suspect. And so when you begin to bring, characters that we cannot vouch for, then it becomes very difficult to say whether that law has been implemented in a manner that we can begin to run a critique as to whether or not, the law itself is a problem or a solution to the people.
All right, let's talk about your platform. Now the governor has moved to another platform, and you are like in the opposition at the level of Benue State right now. Do you say that would deal a blow to your ambition, your aspiration come 2019, as it were? Because there is this belief that wherever the governor controls, chances are that 90% of the people are in that party.
Well, I think that may not be very correct. That may not be entirely correct. Of course, I agree with you by and large that where the governor is situated, of course, there's a lot of followership and all that. But you have to look at Benue as a state, and you have to look at, of course, the people in Benue. If you go back to history, take a walk along memory lane, you discover that this governor himself, who has just decamped from the APC to the PDP, okay, was contested under the APC, who was in opposition at that time, because the person that was in the government house was somebody from the PDP and not from the APC. So we have been able to upstage persons in government house, and this is not going to be the first time. Okay, so I want to assure you that the governor has decamped from the APC to the PDP, and he has gone alone. All right-thinking members of the society, because what moral lesson or what really can the governor say to allow people to follow him? You see, if he had performed, that would have been a problem, certainly. But he has not performed. The man has not commissioned any project. The man has not paid salaries. The man has been lying, has been speaking from both sides of his mouth. Okay? A while ago, a couple of months ago, we were talking about the cargo airport. And that generated a lot of discourse in the public domain. 2 years thereafter, nobody hears about the cargo airport. You see, the beauty of the Benue people is that they have a memory that sometimes can be very short. And so people are not holding him accountable for some of, and a lot of monies went down the drain on account of this cargo airport. And there are some other, projects of this kind and magnitude, wherein the good monies of people went down the drain. And, people are not asking these questions. But I want to assure you again that people are aware, and at the right time, they're going to use their votes to determine the fate of the Benue society.
Right Honorable Barrister Benjamin Adanyi, I'd like to thank you very much for sparing us your time on this program.
The pleasure is mine.
I'm sure we'll get to talk to you again when there is time.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
And that's it for Issues of the Moment today. My name is Inten Epang. Do enjoy the rest of our programs. Bye-bye.